All right, everyone, welcome back to our QA SDET training. We are on day 12 and we are about a little over one third there, and we have a lot of topics more to cover. But today I want to focus on JUnit team. What is JUnit and what do we use this for? So through this process, we will come back. So now that we've got a basic idea of programming, we're going to use Java. We're going to use Selenium WebDriver. We're going to talk about how we can automate a few test cases along with our Eclipse IDE. Now, let's talk about JUnit team. What is JUnit? So the primary reason that kind of got popular is that it was built for unit testing, which is done by developers. So while there are so many facets of testing, and we know that an application will start with a requirement, and then we design, plan, and so on, and then we do the actual coding or build of that, and then we test it, and then we take it into live or production. So testing is not just done out here, team. So any developer who's doing the coding part will also do the first level of testing, which is a little bit of mixture of white box and black box testing. So make sure that their code is working well. So Ja- Java, so unit, okay, JUnit is a Java um, testing framework built for Java developers. Actually, not testing. It's a Java framework built for Java developers to help in unit testing. Now, one of the most important things that JUnit came up with is there are three stages for the for any testing. Now, look at this like a lab. It could be a chemical lab, it could be a manufacturing, it could be an IT lab, and so on, where we're experimenting things. Each day, we have to come and repeat the same process. A lot of things are common. So, what they said is there are certain things we have to do before a test. They said we can prepare and clean, make sure everything is set in terms of initialization and so on. Then we actually want to do a test, and here we want to capture results and say what happened. And then we want to do something after a test. And this basically we will talk about things like clean up and kill all um, you know objects, blah blah blah, that we created. So these three things become very critical for any kind of a test. And I know that a lot of times I will be able to do this where I need to do this. Even when we do um, execute in automation regression testing, we want to prepare, okay, website is here, here is my test case, then we'll execute it, and after the test we want to report the results and so on. So here could also be report results, not just clean up, and then kill whatever we did. So these three things have been put with a concept called as annotations. Now here, it does not have to be a single test. There could be multiple tests. But before each test and after each test, there are certain things that can be done. Now, how do we use JUnit for software testing? So, this, like I said, is primarily used by Java developers, JUnit. It was built for them. It is they who use it a lot. But how do we as QA guys use it? So what we talk about is this team. This was our earlier project team, Java recap. So a lot of programs there. There are a few more programs that we'll interact with as we go along. And I'll come back to these at that time. Okay. Like, exception handling, logging, reading right from Excel, other files, screenshots. So we're going to explore all of these now. Let me erase these drawings. And I want to rename this project team. So I'll go to refactor and say this was our core Java recap. It has a few files to save. I don't want to use space, just as a general guideline. And say okay. And team, I know a few of you could not join today because it's Cyber Monday. I didn't put that into schedule. We already had a long gap last week, so I thought let's get along with what we're doing. All right, so team Code Java, we've done a lot. Let's take a new project altogether. We will do everything afresh. But remember, we did some demo with Selenium and so on. These scripts will come a little handy for us. We don't have to remember every small command and work with it. We will use the script, the program, and start working on something with JUnit. So what we're going to do is I'll create a new Java project and I'll call this as a JUnit. Is JUnit fine as the name of a project? I think it should be okay. And say finish. No modules under it. Now let's talk about JUnit. Now team, do remember, if I have to run this program as is, this cell test one is right now in demo underscore sc. Let me refactor this. Underscore Selenium, I'll say. And this one is demo underscore Java. So we finished demo underscore Java, demo underscore Selenium. Now we also did code Java recap and so on. Can I put a number in front of the project name? I'm sorry, sometimes I take a little bit time. So this should have been 01 for us. Good. Demo Selenium is, sorry, Alt Shift R. Okay. 02. Done. Alt Shift R. There you go. Thank you. 03 underscore done. Now this is our chapter 4. Why am I doing this? Alt Shift R 04. All right. So that way we have an order in which we're going. Great. So now if I have to take the cell test one, which is there, and copy this, and I want to put it into the source, I'll create a new Java class, call it as test1, and put a main method to it. Actually, I don't want to put anything into it. Just finish. And I'm going to paste the entire thing from the previous one, cell test1 here. And all I have to do is this, say as test1. Now, there seems to be certain issues. Not on cell test1. Now I can close this. Let's get this to run, and then we'll create our first JUnit one. So let me call this a SWD test1 team, Selenium WebDriver. So instead of just a test1, SWD underscore test1. I'm looking at it more from your point of view when it comes to how you would practice and so on. So this becomes SWD underscore test1. Okay. Now we still have some problems. We don't have anything in the code. Yes, at WebDriver, Chrome driver. What is the issue? We are unable to find this. Why was this the problem? Because when you look at our demo Selenium, this project, not only that it has an inbuilt JRE system library attached, which is common to everything, it also has a referenced libraries. And in this, we imported the Selenium server standalone. So we got to make sure that that is imported. So we go right click on this project, go to properties, go to your Java build path and look at libraries. And now you want to put something into your class path and then say add external jars. So we kept them somewhere. Right now there's only one jar and we're good with that. So remember, jars is like a Java archived resource, a reusable library that anyone could use. So anyone who's working with different technologies use different jars. So now I've at least this one and line 1 and 2, those errors are gone. I'm going to save it. And I also see this is gone. Let's try and test run it, please, before we can confirm everything is good. So right click, run as Java app. So what is it going to do? It's already doing it. It's launched the Chrome browser, which is good. Seems to be navigating. I can see it loading, trying to load a page. It's gone to an application and halted there. Let me change this application team now. And see, that is where parameterization, one of the first starting blocks, comes for us as to what all we are parameterizing and so on. So now I will say this is QA on air and we'll try and create some more tests around it and run this. Is it done? What is it doing? Okay, there it is. It's still loading, team. And I think the only thing we're doing is printing out the title. Now, printing out the title may not be my purpose. My purpose could be, are you all with me? We're kind of getting a little bit more into it now. String, and maybe I'll divide this. Actually, let me put this here. WebDriver is done. So here I'll say string expected title equals what I'm seeing here. Title is QA on air. And semicolon at the end. So now this is a variable for me, team. So what do I want to do here? Not get title. I want to verify title. All right. So to verify title, I'll just put this as 2.1. So that way I know this is 1.2, 2.13. I need to capture. So I got the title. So what do? I'll put it into actual title. So this is expected. Then there's an actual title, another variable on the same line. One is initialized, the other is not. Not. So actual title equals my d dot get title. So now let's review this code once again in team. So what are we doing here from the beginning? We are trying to open a browser, go to an application and print the title. That's overall. So I'm gonna delete this. We have test parameters to be loaded. The URL for the application, where is my Chrome driver? And that's an important one that controls how I interact with my browser. And I'm setting that to my properties of Chrome driver. So when I say my driver equals new Chrome driver, using this name or whatever name you give, you can call it as my browser, and that's fine, whatever you want. You are able to pass instructions to the browser that got opened. What kind of instructions? Instructions like, let me clean up the code. Let me take this also away, team, from here. It's better for it to be here. I'm just trying to organize the code so it makes logical sense for us. And then the first step here is going to the application and test. So I say myd.navigate. So remember this, we'll start doing a lot of coding around this. When I say myd, it's my object. Remember when we created oops concept earlier? In core Java, I said once we create an oops or any object, we will be able to do two things with it. What is it? We have a properties and methods for it, right? So something here. Oops, humans. There you go. So these are the properties and these are the methods. So when I'm trying to create a human, all I say is the name of this class, something like this. I go down all the way and I create a new one called h3, and h3 equals new. And these two things can be done in the same line as well. Okay. Yes. And now when you say h3 dot, age, email, name are the properties. Then we created few methods. What are they? The human can sleep or talk and so on, right? So properties or methods will show up with h3 dot because the third human we're creating with the same class. When we came to this our test now and Selenium, so let me close this. So when now my D is the same, so it's like almost like saying WebDriver is what a class created by whom? By the Selenium HQ.dev, no, Selenium.dev, which was seleniumhq.com or org earlier. That team has created this class and distributed as a free jar for everyone else to use. So here I'll say my browser equals new. Now I will point it to a subclass team. So Chrome driver is inheriting everything from WebDriver. It's a child class of this parent WebDriver. How and why WebDriver? Oops, please give me a pen now. I'll take a paint. WebDriver. Basic structure. This class has the basic things, and I'm sure most of them could be abstract things. Abstract because, like we showed in the previous session, you have to derive it into something that you can deliver with. Now, that could be a Chrome browser or a Firefox or a Safari and so on. So they all are child classes of this parent. So this is my parent and these are the children. And each of them inherits. So the same methods, same activities like open browser, close browser, get title, and so on. But Chrome has it implemented differently, Firefox differently, and Safari, Edge, and so on differently. Each of them have their own different implementations of it. So, where am I? Now, when we say WebDriver, my browser is the parent, but now I'm setting it specifically to a Chrome driver. Tomorrow I'll show you that you could do the same with a Firefox driver. All you have to say is a Firefox driver here. Let's try it actually. And let's go to Google and say Firefox driver Selenium download. Should be here maybe Mozilla Gecko driver. That's the one that we're looking for. So ting 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 Gecko driver for Windows 64. Are you Windows 32 or 64? How do you recognize team? Go to your Explorer, System Explorer, right click on this PC, go to Properties. You will see the configuration of your system. So for example, mine is an i7 1.8 gigahertz processor, 8 GB internal RAM, 64-bit operating system. That's my system, Windows 10. Now, So you can take Gecko driver Windows 64 instead of Windows 32. Download it. Do I have Firefox? Let me see. I think it's done. I'm going to let it show in the folder. I'm going to unzip a team. So right click and say open with Windows Explorer. Because for me, what's important is just that file, geccodriver.exe. I'll do Control C. Now, where are my files? I think I kept them everything in training. November. Drivers. There you go. Good. So Gecko driver is here now. So now what I can say is for Gecko driver, if it's Chrome driver, this is the way I declare it. So I have to do something very similar for a Gecko driver. So these 4 commands are specifically for a Chrome driver. Now I'm going to create something similar for a Firefox driver. So the Firefox, I'll say FF driver. The Firefox driver is in the same folder, but the name is Gecko driver.exe. And here, the property that we use to set Chrome driver is different. I think it's webdriver.gecko.driver. I'm not sure. Let me check team. So I'll search here and I'll say Selenium WebDriver code for Firefox. Browser stack. Here, see, system.setProperty webdriver.gecko.driver. That's the path that we will give. So I think only gecko.driver and then webdriver.driver, Firefox driver. See, look at those commands also. Maximize. Cookies is something you can delete if you want to load certain things. Page load timeout. Implicit wait. We'll come to these also. Then we have how you send keys. We have to come to this as well. We're going to go through a lot of these commands team. We're taking the dive now into it. So my Firefox driver is set. So, but I have to import that. So here I say this is FF driver. Okay. FF driver gecko driver.exe set property webdriver.gecko.driver FF driver. Now what do I have to do? I've declared this. Firefox driver is a problem because I now have to import it team. We imported Chrome driver, but we've not imported Firefox. Why do we have to manually import each and everything? Because Java wants to work very efficiently. It does not want to carry anything that it doesn't have to do. So now this is go to the application myd dot. I'm going to keep it as is. Okay. And we're doing all of this. Now this is done for Chrome, correct, everyone? Mm. Just our code is going to grow a little longer. So here, let me do one thing, team. I'll change this from MyD to my Chrome, if it's okay. Can I change it everywhere? Refactor, rename. And I say, hello. Alt Shift R. Okay. To my Chrome. So it'll change any other place that I use that. See, everywhere else it will be my Chrome. And here I'll say my Firefox. Okay, so now this one here is specifically for Chrome. And then once Chrome is done, I will again do it here, and this time it's for Firefox. And in this, the only difference is my Chrome will become my FF. And that's the end of it. So we're doing the same exact things, but we're now trying to do it on two different. Oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, SW test one. So this is okay. So let me. Hmm, hmm. Can I undo? No, I cannot. Okay, so I have this. So in test one, I just wanted to be there, but test two will develop more team. Okay, so we are in test two now. Let's save it. There seems to be a red issue there. It's gone now. Now here is our entire program. And we're closing it. We're doing everything. Okay. Just a simple one team. I think it'll take a little bit more time. So start of test. It's opening up Chrome driver, browser, and what happened? Is it navigating? Oh, Firefox is installing updates. But see, there's a problem with Chrome. Something happened here. There's an error that we got. Mozilla Firefox. Oh, right after it opened here. Okay, Firefox seems now to be set. And issue here. Let me see. It's trying to. Now it's good. So I got this. Let me try and run this again, team. And I want you all to try and do the same, please. Later, let's try and run this again.
Hi,
Here
Karthik,
are
this
the
is Neha. Sorry to
hello.
interrupt. Hello. There's on the line 46, you didn't change from my Chrome to my FF. So if
Oh,
you
I
can
didn't. I'll
check
check that.
on, yeah.
Sure, I will. Give me a second, please. And now it's doing something on Firefox team. It is navigating. So the test is still running for us, which is good. I think the application is taking time to load, or I don't know if it's my network speed, but it is getting what it's doing. It has to do rather, and we kind of have it here. What is the issue? Okay, now let me see, where was the issue you're saying, Nia? On line
46.
46. Okay. Ah, right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Because we're getting the title from here, and we cannot print the title at this point. So that was the issue being pointed here. Let's see. Yes, because it says, now who can explain why did it fail on line 46? when it was my Chrome, is it a syntax error, team? No, I don't see any red errors here. Was it a runtime error? Yes, it was. Why was it a runtime error? Anyone? Are you all muted at your end? Unmuted, team? Is my audio okay? No, it's not that. See, the reason line 46 failed is because on line 37, I said my chrome.close. When I close an object, there is nothing I can do with that. So I don't have the ability to get the title on line 46. This was a mistake that we made. It was supposed to be my FF. And there goes a simple test. Now let's run it again. Hopefully this time, let me stop this once. I'm sorry. 1 second, actual title. Why am I getting this again? So this should be actual title. And here should be, then that mistake would have not come also. So actual title. This is the title that we're looking at. And we're not verifying the title yet. So how do we verify the title? So here I'm going to write and say if we have an expected title and the actual title. So I'll say if actual title dot equals team. When I'm comparing two strings, I use dot equals and not the double two equation signs. So this specifically created for comparing strings. That's dot equals. And here actual title equals expected title. Then I will print saying Chrome title, oops, passed, else I'll say Chrome title failed. That's my verified title. Now, this verified title will also be the same exact thing here. Though we are doing a few things differently, it's still going to be the same exact code. Actual title, oops, sorry, what happened here? Expected title. Here also. Now, I would also be able to see if it worked. So here it's Firefox, please. Yes, Firefox. Save. Let's see. Let's try and read the code once, team, before I execute it. So we are in good control of it. Let's do it on go.it. Now I'm changing the website to this. So I've kind of got it easily commented. I'm able to do it through that. Okay. So this is the website. Oh no, it'll not work then. Actually, let's see if it fails for it. Then we'll check for QA on it. Chrome, Firefox, Chrome, then Firefox. So it's all there. What are we doing here? Set up the Chrome path, property, open up the browser. 4 lines here, 3 lines here, only difference. You can in fact do it in 2 lines also. You can put the path here directly. So you're done there. Now going and navigating, getting the title, comparing the title, closing it. Going, navigating, getting the title, comparing title, close and print end of test. So that's what my test must do. I have too many sleep commands here, team. I'll try and look at this. Okay, so we get it in print also that way. For us, whatever we're doing, we're trying to measure that by looking at the output. So we want to keep that there. All right, team. So, and I want you all to be also trying to do things a little patiently, please. Don't try and hurry up too much because it can be challenging if we skip some tests or steps. Sorry. I'm gonna let this run. We're gonna sit back and watch it, please. Hmm, what happened here? I'm not sure, team. Let me close the old ones, but let's see this. Let's expand the console ones. Okay, so start of test. This is Chrome driver, blah blah blah. Chrome title is web. Welcome to so and so. Chrome title fail. Firefox actual title is welcome to IT learn QA so and so. Firefox title fail. It worked fine. I don't think there was any other issue, team. This all red errors does not mean it's necessarily a challenge or an issue. And why do I know? Why do you think I know that it did not fail to run the program? It successfully ran it till the end. How do I know that? How do we know that it ran it till the end, everyone? That is right, Umesh, exactly. You're right, Rishikesan. Jyoti, yes. Neha, yes. Nazar, yes. Emal, yes. We don't have a loop yet, Tamkunad. We don't have a loop. If loop got executed, there's no if loop. If statement got executed, yes. The main reason because end of test got printed. Why? That's my last step in the program. So how do I know that this program ran successfully? That got printed. If this was an issue, it would have stopped here on line 62. It'll never come to line 65 if there's a runtime error, unless we have a try catch block, which I'll show you. Okay. So right now test is running fine. Now what is this JUnit? What are we trying to do? Now that I have a basic test, let's talk about JUnit, team. So the miracle about JUnit is number one thing, you don't have a main method into it. JUnit is a Java unit testing framework. Okay, it's a Java unit testing framework and it does not need a main method. Then how will it run? It uses the concept of annotations to decide three things: what to do before, what to do for a test, what to do after a test. And those annotations you have to put. And the way we do it is I say at before and I say public void and I put a function or a Java method into it. And I'll say uh, um, before my test. And then, so I'll just print here, sorry, and say at the beginning. Okay. And I'll just put this a little like this. So it's easy for us to. And then similarly, I'll have something called an at after. And this is after my test. If I have a test, I want to clean up. It's like cooking in a kitchen. Once you're done with the cooking, you want to clean up. Before you start cooking, you want to prepare a few things, set things aside and so on. And then finally, there's an actual cooking, the process of it. And it's a my test. This is my actual test. I'll say here, test one. like this. Now, look at all this team that we're doing, okay? Of course, we have errors. What errors are these? Syntax errors. It does not know what is at before. It does not know what is at test or at after. If I take my mouse over, it doesn't know what it does. But if I import jar, then you can start to work with it, to work with annotations. Like, so how do we get that? Oh yeah, as we know, JUnit JAR, come on, download and click JUnit 5, JUnit 4. JUnit 4 also is fine. I don't know if I'm doing JUnit 5. Let's go to JUnit 4 team. Still should, oopsie, JUnit 4. Okay, and download and install. So let's go there. Plain old jar, JUnit jar, and a Hamcrest core jar. These two jars are needed, team, for us to be able to run anything with JUnit. If we have a Maven dependency, we can import it using the version numbering here. We haven't got to Maven yet. We'll do these two right now. So download, oops, tick, JUnit.jar. Download here. So I want you to exactly follow all this process, team, when you're practicing. And we're gonna do with the latest always. JUnit 4 should be good enough, team. That's why I didn't want to overcomplicate with what we want to do, because a lot of focus of what we may do will be with testng also. Hamcrest jar download. So I've got these two. I'm gonna go show in folder, cut, and take it to my drivers. So I'll put these also in the drivers and whatever other jars. So Hamcrest, this I'll just rename it. Not needed, but there's only one file here. So now, if I need to have these annotations recognized in my reference library, it's not going to be just Selenium server standalone, but also JUnit and this Hamcrest. These are the two other building blocks that are needed. I'll go to properties for this project, Java build path, class path, add external jars, drivers folder, Hamcrest, and JUnit. Enter them, apply and close. Now take your mouse over at before. Oops, at before. Ah, there you go. Import before org.junit. Import at test org.junit and import at after org.junit. Now you're very simple. The most minimal JUnit code is ready. Is this allowed syntax wise for Java? Absolutely. Why? Because semicolon is saying that's my end of the statement. I can put all these three in the same line too. Now, these are the three annotations that we put before, test, and after. And each one has a print statement now, team. So here I'm going to call this as my test one actually. Okay, and this is test one. At the beginning, test one at the end. Now, when I run this code, okay, you will see there's a subtle difference here. Let me save it. So you can right click on your code here and run as. Do you see that it doesn't say Java application like it used to tell us earlier? Why? Because there's no main method in this. You can only run it as a JUnit test now. It's recognized that it's got annotations. So I right click and say run as JUnit test. Allow access, sure, please. And there we go. So we got these three steps printed, team. So what happens is before a test, it will print at the beginning. After a test, it will print at the end. And I can have multiple tests running at the same time. Now, not the same time, but one after the other. Now, look at this report. Unlike a typical Java program that runs, you have a little better version of output where you know how long it took for the overall program. Your specific test took so and so time, and it's all green right now. Nothing failed in this case. But now, if I copy this and say I have another test, it can't be the same name. So I'll say my test 2. What are these team? Public void before my test 1, my test 2. They're all methods. These methods, before we put them, we give an add before or an add test or add after. These add before, add test, and add after are JUnit annotations specific to them, which have a specific meaning. Now, see, I have two tests, test 1 and test 2. Now, these tests are here. I have a quick question, everyone. When I run this code, how many lines will get printed here? In the previous, we got 3. Now, how many? How many lines will get printed now? And that's where you all be prepared for an answer and see now. At the beginning, test 1. At the end, at the beginning, test 2. At the end. What does this mean? That every test will get executed. Every add test will get executed. But before executing add test, this is compulsory. After this is compulsory. I can have any number of tests, but before it will do a certain set of things, and after also it will do a certain test set of things. So those are the preparations of a test and the cleanup or reportings of a test that's done in that case. Now see the previous one, we ran my test 1, my test 2. This is 0.001 second, this is hardly a second. I mean nothing. And now I'll save this and rerun it. It's going to run it as a JUnit test only team. Now see how many came? 9 lines. And let us say I do something fishy here. I say this is int x comma y, x equals 10, and then I'll say y equals 20, 0. I'll say sysO x by y. I want to print this number. Now see, when I ran these 3 tests before, it gave me each of them ran fine. Now when I try and divide a number by 0, what will happen? It'll say, oh, the third test failed. But now look at this team. I'll cut it and I'll put it into the first test. Will it run the second test and third test now? It ran first test, no problem, just printed. Second test, no problem. Third test, it had an issue earlier. Now I moved that and I put it into the first test. Because it fails there, will it run test 2 and test 3? So let's run it now. There you go. Did you notice? My test 1 failed. My test 2 still continue to execute and pass. My test 3 still continue to execute and passed. You realize they're all independent tests. Doesn't matter if one test passes or one fails, I will run all the tests. For as JUnit, what is most important for me? What do I do before and what do I do after? So now let's try and do something on a Selenium thing. So I'll create a new one. It's a JUnit 2 underscore SWD. Okay. No main method. Remember, I'm going to take the same code from the previous one team. Let's take that. This is the JUnit one and put it here. It's nice. At least it's got the beginning parts of it. This, let's rename it to this, and we're all set at the beginning. Now, this is what I want to do. Let me put actually, mm, I'll keep it simple, team. Let's just do it on Chrome if it's okay with you all, team. Whenever I want to run a test, I have to say that I want to set up these. There is a path. How do I get to set my Chrome driver there? And what will be the object name? Now, there is a problem here, team. If I declare WebDriver my Chrome on line 13, and please just be a little focused on this, team. See the scope of this curl brackets in Java tell me the scope or a life of a variable. It is born on line 13. It is dead on line 15. Everything that is created from line 10 will die when it comes to the end of that specific block. So in the test, now this is not my test. My test is what is it that I want to do? This is my test one, print title. Okay, we will do a little bit more functionality later, team. Let's get the basic of how JUnit works. Then here I will say verify title, and here I'll say um not actually no print title. What else should we do here? What is the application we were doing? QA on air, maybe. Then there'll be a couple of things we can perform quickly on that. Let's see. I'll say hire freelancers and apply as freelancers. Okay. These are my three tests. Now, what is it that I will do within this test? I don't know yet, but I've started my browser. So if I go here and I want to just print title, then I'll say my Chrome dot, what is the command? We know it here, my Chrome dot get title. If you write dot, it should come and give me some options. Why is it not coming up? Specifically because WebDriver is defined within this block. What if it is declared within this block at the class level? Then the end of that is here. See, this is highlighted. If I put my cursor here on line 39, this is an ending of a block. Where is the beginning? I'll scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, and I'll see, oh, it's highlighted here. This is the beginning. So if I want WebDriver to be accessible everywhere, cut it from here, put it here, and then no problem. If I say my Chrome dot, it should tell me and give me what I want. And I want to get title here. And I'm just going to print it for now, team. Okay. Title is plus this variable and end of brackets. And always remember, team, how many brackets you open, you have to close so many always. So there's one open bracket, second open bracket. Hence the third open close, oh, sorry, first close bracket and second close bracket. Make sense? Now hire freelancers. What is it that I want to do here? I want you to click on hire freelancer and print this title. So how will I click on it? I have to inspect this element. Right click. I don't need this portion of it. And I see this is a link with the text hire freelancers. So what I can do is I can say my, what was it? Chrome dot find element by dot, and we'll do a lot of this, team. In this case, I'll use link text. We'll do ID and name are very easy. Link text is the next easiest one. And then we'll go to XPath and CSS. So I'll say link text. And what is the link text that I'm seeing here that I want to click on? It is hire freelancer. If you don't know exactly the upper lower case, how many spaces, double click, do a control C and paste it. Now this is the link that I want to it to click on. And then maybe I will wait. I would like to wait for 2 seconds so I see what it's clicked on. Now, can someone tell me why is there an issue on line 29? What could be the possible reason? Nice, very nice. Exception. Because my test 2 may have an exception issue. So all I have to say is it is capable of throwing an exception. I'll say it throws an exception and then gone. That's it. Now, exception is the main parent class team. Under that, there are Selenium exceptions, file handling exceptions, arithmetic exceptions, and so on. And that we will handle through try catch, but not yet. So this is my test 2 that's done. Now my test 3 is nothing different. The only difference is I'm going to apply here for freelancers. How do I recognize that? This seems to be the one. Double click, copy, and then paste it, team. Or please be very precise. Don't say apply as freelancers. Freelancer. Okay. So there's no S here. In my text, what I write does not matter. But what you're giving to identify an element does matter. Again, this may throw an exception. If this is getting called from somewhere else, even that has to be given that team. But otherwise, this is fine. Okay. Now this is JUnit test 3, JUnit second code for us. And in the end, I'll do nothing as of now. Okay. But see, each time I have to close my browser because I'll start a new test. WebDriver my Chrome. It'll open up a browser, do this test. It'll finish, close the browser. That's it after. Then second test, open browser, do this, close browser. Then third test. Even if one fails, it'll go to the next one team. And that's the beauty of it. Which one am I running? JUnit. Yep, let's see now. So we have one test that passed. Second test failed. Third test failed. And it shows us how long it took. Overall 11.757 seconds, 4.77 here, and 3.583, 3.4 out here. So that's how long it took. Now, why did it fail? I'm sorry, team. Give me a second. I was choking a little. Um, I clicked on the second test. Okay. And if you take a mouse over here, it'll tell you the main thing. It's saying unable to locate that element with this specific hire as a freelancer. Why is it not able to? And then where is it occurring? If I scroll down and double click here, it'll take me to the line out here. It could not identify this link. Okay. How about the next one? Okay, similar one, but applies freelancer. It could not identify. Why? Let's say we're not sure. Let's rerun it again. Observe very closely now, team. Okay. Now, did you see the page loading? What about the first test? Why is it a pass? Test one, what did it do? Print title. Title is, did it print a title, team? It didn't print anything here. Why? Why did it not print anything? because maybe it's not even waiting for the page to load. Should I ask it to wait maybe a few seconds, like my page may take 3 seconds. I'll ask it to wait for 3 seconds, and this may throw an exception, so I'll say throws exception. It's capable to throw an exception. And okay, now the same issue could be happening here. Our freelancers, or in this case, all I did is I'm asking my test to slow down and wait as long as the worst case scenario of 3 seconds for the page to load. And now I'm rerunning this test. First one didn't fail the previous time also, so that's fine. Why is it not going? What's wrong? Any idea, team? And that's primarily because we didn't navigate it anywhere. That was stupid of us. My Chrome dot navigate dot to URL, and then I need to put the URL for it. So we didn't have that, team, and that was its big problem. Now let's try this again. Hopefully it should run. You're right, Sachin. You're right, Rishikesh. So here, let me uncomment that sleep, because I thought that was the culprit. I missed it, team. It's totally a manual human error that we made. I overlooked it. But see how we are able to at least go back and identify what could have caused it. Because I was not seeing that application being loaded. That felt strange. So now I've removed that wait. Okay, now it's loading. It's doing something. Now it's going to the next one. It clicked on hire freelancers and completed. Third one had an issue. At least the first two did work. And look at the amount of time it's taken, team. This 3 seconds wouldn't have helped either way. It's almost 15 seconds by the time it's able to perform some of these. The first one 14. The third one, what happened? Test 3 by link text apply as freelancer dot click. So all that it is doing, team, is it is each time opening up the browser, because that's what we said, navigating to it, performing the steps of getting a title, and so on, and putting it out here, and saying that at the end I want to do it after for each test. So see, I have one at before, and then we have the first test 1, then the second test 2, third test 3, and at after. So this before my test and after my test are common for my test 1, test 2, test 3. Same things will be done. But just what I'm doing inside them could be different. Totally. Let's rerun this once again. Now, team, I want you to all take this as an assignment and prepare the same JUnit, all of you. For various AUTs. You can take any application and a test. I want you to show me what is it that we have done. Inside this, you can put an if statement or a few things, whatever you want, and show me it is running. What is it that you're doing? How is it that it's being verified? Okay. Now Java, no test found matching. Oh, what happened now? This is not something I saw. Initialization error. Right click. Before my test, everything is there. Okay, did I do anything? Run as JUnit test. Okay, it's running again, team, just in case. Which one, Hemal? What should be as? I didn't get you. I'm sorry. Oh, it should be as. Um, yes, you're right. I think I did that, and we were deliberately trying to make it fail. You're right. You're so correct on it. This was the mistake. Lowercase. You're right, Hemal. So now test 3, I think it will not affect now. It will still fail. It's running. Do you see the play icon? It's still running, but it's going to fail. And then we will run it again. And let's see what will happen then. See, it tried. It tried to click on it, didn't find it, and it said that's fine. So let me see if there's an @ignore for this. No. Yes, there is. There you go. @ignore and @ignore. I've also imported one more @ignore here, team. So that's another annotation. So we have after, before, test, and ignore. So if I put an ignore before a test, that specific test will not get executed. I don't have to comment the whole thing. I don't have to do anything. So I've got a choice to choose which test I want to run. In this case, I've commented it so that I can run only this test 3 and correcting the fault which lied in a test data. And let's run it again. I want you to do exactly the same thing with 2, 3 different applications, team. Put some if statements and test it. And that's basically what JUnit is. What it gives you is a good report. It gives you the entire control of preparing certain things and then finishing certain things. How is TestNG different from it? TestNG just takes it to a little different level. It's a next generation testing framework, again for Java specifically, where we have annotations similar to this, but we have better reporting, we have more annotations, and we can provide data to change things and run things independently each time. So team, I want you all to please take this as an assignment. Create simple JUnit for various application tests. Show me tomorrow. Okay, everyone? You want this code for today's? I'll put it there. And that's it. I will see you all tomorrow unless you have any questions. Anything on your practice? How have you all been doing? Someone had a hand raised. Neha, yes, please.
Karthik, I have a question. When you can you go to the Eclipse?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I'm here.
So if you select a new class, so there are the options of JUnit test case. So why don't we select that instead of doing it as a class?
Oh, here, let's try this. So what is it saying here? It's okay. By the way, just to let you know, it is an
Mhm.
Eclipse option. Eclipse is a tool, a platform, an IDE used for Java developers. So a lot of things would be here, team. Even annotation is here, for example. But we really don't use all the options that are there within Eclipse. Maybe even this is trying to do the same thing, but I'll do it at a code level. But if I look at this, it is saying, okay, source folder, package folder name. I'll just say, what was this? Okay, I'll say JU1. And I'll put a setup, I'll put a tear down. We'll come to these. And I don't need a constructor. What else? Source folder is empty. Where is this going? JUnit 4 I want. Now these are the other things. Um, which folder, what is it saying? I don't know what this does, honestly. Let me say here. No, it still doesn't. Let me put src and then okay. So I'm going to put there no package within it and say finish. Maybe it'll create a class like that. Let's go to Package Explorer, JU1. Oh, there you go. Before, after, and a test. That's it. So it created a basic structure of the same thing. We wrote it ourselves. It created this. We're not using asserts yet here. So that's why nothing is coming on there. But otherwise, this is doing exactly the same thing. And the only difference is team. In mine, I put my after my test at the end. It can be absolutely at the beginning. It's not the order that's important. It is the annotation that decides the order. But did I answer your question? Was it Neha?
Yes. So is it like
So mhm,
better to the way you just write it down yourself instead of using the inbuilt?
110% yes. Don't
Okay.
depend too much on all these extra features that IDE gives. These are more of handicap features.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't know what we're doing and we really got to go with it, they just made it available. And in the same manner, there are a lot of other features within Eclipse. We may not use them as much,
Okay.
but on a coding level, we will use. We have to code everything. Instead of using shortcuts, we will depend a lot on ourselves building it.
Okay. I want to show you my work, and I have
Give
small,
me a
small
second. I'll come
questions
to you.
in that. Yep.
I'll come to it. Sure. Give me a minute. Anyone else, team? Any other questions? Anything else for the day? So Sachin, I have a question. What is the use of Hamcrest jar? Is it mandatory to add? Yes, it is mandatory. So when we're working with JUnit, this Hamcrest jar works in combination with the team. So these two are necessary for us to be able to work on them. And we'll keep adding a lot of jar files as we keep going along. So for us, core Java doesn't need much. Selenium a little bit, JUnit a little bit, frameworks more and more. So you'll see a list of libraries increasing too out here. All right, Neha, I'm going to make you presenter. Let's see what you have on your system. Yes, very nice. Wow, that's a lot of work. Can't hear you, please. Can you check your mute audio? Okay, I
Yep.
think, yeah.
Now I can. It was not able to. I know I was not able to unmute myself.
Go ahead, please.
I did practice from the last session that we did.
Very nice. Very nice.
So, but there are even I did that, but then also I have few questions on some of
Sure,
them.
sure.
So this was the bank account class that we made. You
Mhm.
put that system printout /n, but when we print, it doesn't show up. Why?
I didn't put that, by the way.
Okay, because
I never
I
put a slash in.
okay,
Maybe it is, but this is the first line. How do you know it's not printing
it
a
is
new line?
printing, but the
How
slash
do you know
n.
it's not printing a new line? Put something before line 8, then you know if it is
Okay,
giving a gap or not.
okay,
Go on
I'll
line 7 at the end of it,
sure. I got it
enter,
here, and then do the
just put
system.
another system, yeah, and just check. And then please let me know later.
Sure, I'll let you
No,
know.
finish it, write it off.
Oh, okay.
Just a few seconds
Because
away.
this will not run since it's a
No problem. Just write it, then you can test it.
okay. It's not
So,
coming up. Maybe my system is slow. That's why.
sure. Okay. All right, you can do it later and print C and then you can check if line 8 and 9. Yeah. So after
I'll
hello, is it showing a new line or not? Okay.
okay. The other thing is that on line 15, that what
Mm.
does plus equals to do?
So can I take control on the system?
Sure.
So if I want, this is basically a shortcut to say vbalance equals vbalance plus amount. So instead of saying this, the shortcut to this is vbalance plus equals amount.
Amount.
It's a
Okay.
Java shortcut,
All right.
like I plus plus J plus plus,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something similar a little to that.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yes, please.
And one last thing that I want to
Mhm.
ask you about this
Yes, please.
function. What
Uh-huh.
is the difference between function D and function E? That is on the line
Sure,
56 and 62.
sure. So a lot of difference, in fact. So in
Okay.
line 56, you see public static void.
Yeah.
Void means it is empty, nothing is there in it. So when
Okay.
you run it, it will do things, but it will not return anything for you. You cannot do anything.
Okay.
But on line 62, if you notice, it says public static int.
Yeah.
So this function, when executed, will return a integer that you can use for wherever it's being called from.
Okay.
And that is why I require line 66. Now, if I comment line 66, it'll have an issue.
It
It'll say,
will
hey, you said int, then how could you? Now, one of the solutions to it is make this void. It'll suggest also, see. Okay, 1 second, sorry.
yeah,
See,
change type
change
to what?
return type to void.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, now I have no problem. But if I want an integer, then I have to return an integer. So I
All
do
right.
all that I want. What do I want to return? I will do. It can be a string, it can be an object, it can be an array, it can be anything that will go back.
Okay. Yep. That's
Mhm.
that's what I have to ask. Thank you.
Sure. And I'm so happy to see all this hard work you're doing here. Very nice.
Thank you
Very
so much.
nice. Very good way to go. Now put this Java project and do a JUnit 1, please. Next.
Sure, I will do that.
Okay. Great. And team, that's it from my side today. So please look at the video and download those JUnit ham crest, put them together, nicely organized, and write a couple of them. Tomorrow I'll start with TestNG. This is basically what we need to know about JUnit. How can we create a data-driven framework or other frameworks? I think we'll complete a couple of them this week, but also how we identify elements in a complex atmosphere. So these are the things we have for this week. All the best. We'll see you back tomorrow, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye all. Bye.